Hi, my name is Dr. Anne Sylvestre. I have a really interesting case I want to share with you. Be sure to watch this video through and see how this case develops as we move along. I was asked to give my opinion on this geriatric, absolutely sweet, gentle, cuddly little dog that had been dropped off at the local Humane Society. The veterinarians at the Humane Society determined that she was probably well over 10 years of age, and she had this mass protruding from her vulva. Otherwise, she was bright, alert, responsive, urinating well, defecating well, eating well. So this mass didn't seem to be bothersome to her, besides the fact that it was extruding from her vulva. After doing a digital vaginal exam, we all agreed that we were probably dealing with a marked case of vaginal hyperplasia, and that the treatment of choice would be to spay this girl. Vaginal hyperplasia responds very well to spaying. The excessive protruding tissues tend to regress pretty quickly after spay. Although she had a lot of tissue, the other choice would have been to amputate the protruding tissues and spay her. But the protruding tissues were not necrotic, so it would have been fine to keep a cone on her and just expect those tissues to retract, to regress also. So I'm looking at this dog, as I'm talking to the veterinarian, I'm just looking at this dog on the exam table. I'm going, this dog's stance is all wrong. Can you appreciate what I'm seeing? Take a look at how she's standing. Although she's got all four limbs on the table, she is really excessively weight shifting, putting most of her weight on her front limbs, on her forelimbs.
Take a look at where her forelimbs are located. They're further behind than where you would expect. So she's kind of got her forelimbs closer to the middle of her body so that she can shift all of her weight onto those forelimbs.
So of course I have to watch this dog walk.
You can appreciate as she's walking that her strides with her back legs are very short. Now watch as she moves slowly. There's no extension in the hips, but look at the stifle. Watch her kick her, hyperextend almost her stifle to help compensate for that lack of extension in the hip. So her motion comes from her stifles as opposed to her hips.
Her radiographs show that she has bilaterally luxated hips, and likely they've been that way for a very long time. When I examined this dog's hind limbs, there was barely any motion in her hips, but she didn't display a lot of discomfort or pain when I tried to put her hips through a range of motion, oddly enough. Now, she is a kind dog and, probably also a very stoic dog, but usually they still give us some signs. They hold their breath and they tense their muscles, and I really didn't get that with her. The question was, do we do bilateral FHOs? Do we treat surgically these chronically luxated hips? So we had quite a healthy discussion on that. This is a very geriatric dog. She's also got a pretty sedentary kind of personality. And I know that may be a result of this chronic, very chronic orthopedic issue, but like it or not, that is now more her way, is to be rather sedentary. This dog is a lover-girl. She just wants to be held and cuddled and loved and appreciated for who she is. She doesn't seem to be experiencing a lot of discomfort, although she is forward weight shifting, so there may be some discomfort there for sure. But to do bilateral FHOs on her, the post-op rehabilitation, given how chronic this problem is, would be pretty extensive. It would be a long rehabilitation process for this girl. And she's no spring chicken. So it's a balancing act, right? It's about about doing the right thing for this girl at this time. You got to think that even if we did bilateral total hip replacements on her, she would probably still be a pretty sedentary dog that's just going to want to sit with her family and cuddle and watch TV. I doubt that she would pick up flyball as a new hobby or anything like that at this stage of her life. So is she comfortable enough to be as active as she really wants to be at this point in her life? Or do we put her through surgery and a grueling rehabilitation program in the hopes to buy her more motion, more abilities to move better and do more? Not necessarily an easy answer, but we opted not to do surgery on this dog, but to find her an appropriate home, meaning not one with a ton of stairs, and not one with a bunch of little kids that are going to want to go play at the dog park every day. That's how we opted to treat her. What do you think of our treatment protocol on this dog? What would you have done?